This is GT Racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rhythm, both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top!
Oh my god! Oh! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are going to want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome to SimSpeed TV for our Friday night double take. Starting off with the VRS GT3 Series, we'll go oval racing later on. The NASCAR Gander Outdoors Class C trucks, but right now our focus is on the road and the road course of Summit Point. My name's Ryan Jones. Alongside of me for this one is Simon Mizomo. Behind the scenes is Jay Kennedy. Simon, this should be a very interesting track. It's a very tight track, very technical as well. Going to offer up plenty of challenges for these drivers.
Yes, a lot of challenges tonight. I'm going to dub it Dive Bomb City because that's pretty much what you're going to need to do to get a pass done around here. You've got turn one, which is obviously a nice long straight, but it's very, very easy to defend. So your other opportunities later on in the lap, they're going to come from high risk maneuvers. So should definitely be plenty of fun racing tonight.
Certainly, and qualifying is underway as we speak with Jose Alonso currently fastest by just 600ths back to Pablo Araujo in second. And just casting my eye over the list of names, I think you shouldn't have too many issues tonight, Simon. We all know that is your weak spot.
Look, the English language is very difficult for me. I'm still learning it at this point, so should be all right though. So a few good laps going down at the moment. Times pretty close at the moment. We can see 2:08.0 for Alonso, but then you just go back to say 15th place, only half a second in it. So very, very close times tonight. It's going to make the racing very close as well. Being such a short track also helps that.
Even your provisional pole sitter Alonso making a mistake there out of the final corner, losing it on his second attempt. We're looking on now at Pablo Araujo from Iberia as he sweeps through and around towards the back of the circuit. It's a very short lap here, just over 1 minute lap times. It does strike me as a track that is reasonably hard to pass on, not only because of how tight it is, but how technical it is too. There's not many big braking opportunities. Turn one going to be one of the only good opportunities.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got the sort of the right-handed and the left-handed for the final sort of tight section. There's an opportunity there, but as you're saying, you're sort of coming over a rise in a hard braking zone. So even then, it's very difficult to be able to get a pass done there without rubbing doors at least.
This is Merlin Mark Wolf at the moment that we are watching in the number 13 car, running in the Audi. And of course, the GT Series uses GT3 machinery. I covered momentary mind blank there. Yeah, GT3 machinery. So you've got the Audi, the BMW, the Mercedes, and the Ferrari all available to use. And we normally get and the McLaren too, which has got some pretty cool flames shooting out the back of it all the time. Does give a bit of variety out there amongst drivers, and they do have their different strengths and weaknesses at individual tracks. You often see a certain car sometimes trending towards the front at one track, or another continue to do well otherwise. What would you expect to be fast around here?
That car we referred to last week, the BMW, not sure if you can remember which one it is, but that would be my pick for tonight. I think the Audi is definitely going to have an advantage as well. It seems to do these tracks, the very tight technical tracks very, very well. So not so sure if the McLaren or the Mercedes will really feature too well. They haven't got really that chance to sort of stretch the legs, which is their big advantage is they are very quick in a straight line. So yeah, I don't think the track's really going to suit them too much tonight as we see Andrea come to the line. Doesn't look like he'll make an improvement on that one. He goes a little bit faster, but no big improvement. But yeah, you can see that the pace already out of the Mercedes at the moment.
And the top 4, make that the top 8 covered by just a tick over a tenth and a half, so incredibly tight, as you'd expect from such a short lap time. Does mean that going to be very frantic opening affair for these drivers. A rolling start as well, of course, so going to be extremely bunched up heading down to that first corner. Going to be trouble city down there as Stephen McCaffrey from the UK and Ireland region will come across the line. What lap time can he put down? Doesn't register a lap on that attempt, and he won't actually get enough time in the leaderboard on the session left to put a time up on the leaderboard.
Yeah, it looks like he's off. I can see 2 blanks coming up, so it looks like he's off track both of those laps. So yeah, definitely not going to get one now.
So this is what the starting grid looks like here from Summit Point Raceway in the VRS GT Sprint Series. Jose Alonso on the pole from Pablo Araújo alongside Giuseppe Gallo from 3rd and Martin Heiliges from 4th. Francesco Cherubini in 5th. Christian Shizajar. Whoa.
Hey.
Christian's from 6th. Eddie Macrani from 7th. Tom Brittle from 8th. Dean Eddy at 9th. Nacho Gasper running out the top 10.
Coming in 11th is Angel Salas, and Tim Eliza in 12th. Everso Lorento 13th. Oscar Pajardis in 14th. Pablo Espers 15th. Morgan Thompson in 16th. Alberto Fuente in 17th. Pablo Vicente in 17th. 18th, Pablo Vicente. Alejandro Llanes in 19th. Victor Reyes in 20th.
And running out the field is Merlin Mark, Wolf, Fran, Castillo, Adria, Capdevila, Nubo, Stephen McCaffrey, and Sergio Carrara make up your 25 car starting grid for this one. The weather is hot out there for these drivers over in the US. iRacing starting time of 10 minutes before 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Clear skies, but a 46-degree track temp, so a bit slippery out there for these drivers. We'll have to contend with that, as it's actually just ticked up a degree as we talk about 116 Fahrenheit if you are in the one part of the world that uses that measurement. Not much wind, estimated race distance of 36 laps. They will need to make a pit stop at some point for some fuel, but no tyres going to be needed.
No, definitely no tyres in these things for the races being so short. Although, since the recent patch, they do actually use a fair bit of tyre wear. Now, something I guess I tend to harp on a lot of it when we do the oval stuff is how much the tyres wear over a stint. But these things have recently had a patch which actually does relatively the same thing. You're very lucky to get a full stint out of a set of tyres on these things. So, definitely the fuel, they'll need a little bit to be able to get it home, but I think the tyres will definitely be a question mark again today.
Because it is such a short lap, we are going to have a whole lap under the pace car. We see some tracks, they line up towards the back end. What track will be out last week? It was Sebring, wasn't it? Well, they did a whole lap despite it being a 2-minute lap time. Won't be quite as painstaking this time around. We hear that it is pronounced Seato for Christian Seato to pronounce that last name, so we got that one figured out. As we roll on down then into this formation lap. So, if you're starting back in the field, you've really got to find a balance between aggression and a patience on this first lap. When you have everyone stacked up like this, it's one of your best opportunities to make moves happen. But at the same time, the risk of an incident is tenfold what it is normally.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those tight tracks. Turn 1, the bottleneck is going to be huge. Like, everyone's going to get down there fairly quickly, but it's a very tight corner to get everyone through, so there'll be a fair bit of a checkup through that section. So it's going to be a bit of patience. Can't really, if you're staying down the back, you've got to realise that that's what's going to happen. You're going to get to turn 1, it's going to check up. You're got to be able to think long term, especially when it comes to your pit strategy. Do you go for a very early undercut? You could obviously, tyres not being the question here, you could potentially pit as early as you can, get the fueling that you need, and then get home from there, which would be a big undercut, get you some clear air, potentially get yourself some track position. If you're up front, being such a short track, the chances of falling back into a mid-pack battle, you don't need to be there, so you just stay out there for as long as you possibly can. All these sorts of different questions that they're going to have to sort of weigh up with these ones, which the short tracks really do bring out that sort of strategy and how you adjust yourself accordingly.
You can see there the track barely 2 car widths wide, I should say. So it does give you a fantastic view of how hard it's going to be as Alonso jumps on that gas and we go green at Summit Point Raceway. A great start as well from Marojo. And Gallo's going to have to defend as they're side by side behind him. Helliger's on the outside of Cherubini there, thinking about 3 wide for a moment. Backs out of it as now they jump on the brakes and they all close up through turn 1. A mistake and a wide line from Hilliger is going to allow Cherubini to go on by him.
Yeah, very, very good start. You can see they've actually all come through that first corner very, very well. You can see them moving their way, trying to go up the hills side by side, back down the pack, but they seem to be sorting themselves out. So far, so good. The downhill section now. This is where you can potentially make a move. We can see down the pack, there's a move going on at the moment. Everyone seems to be spreading themselves out pretty well. There's a move from a BMW. Can't see who that was, but they've gone in there. So you can see they're stretching themselves out at the moment.
A BMW made a move somewhere. I don't know who it was or where it was, but it happened.
It was
Cherubini got by Gallo as well through turn 4 as we ride on board with Hilligers looking back at Gaspar in the McLaren behind him. That bright yellow McLaren looming in his rear view mirror. Is he close enough for a look? Up the inside, down here at turn 1, Hilliger's going to defend and goes late on the brakes on that defensive line. Going to compromise his exit and allows 5 or 6 cars now to form a train under his rear spoiler car off the track. That's Tim Milesa, who's run into issues. Might have just missed his braking marker down into the first corner.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened there. You can see them heading down into this downhill section here. That McLaren's definitely got a bit of pace at the moment. We've got to see Alberto Fluente off the track at the moment. Not sure what has happened to him, but he's managed to get back on at the moment. This tight technical section, very much single file as they come through here, trying to make sure you get the apex. It's very unsettled as you come out of this corner as well. You've got to let the car run wide, but not too wide. Obviously that grass is going to be there waiting for you if you do, heading into the final corner. So very good at the moment to see them all spread themselves out. Doesn't look like anyone's had any major issues.
Look at that train of cars on the run down into the first corner then. Highlighting the difficulties of this racetrack, challenges of a short, tight, twisting circuit like this one, is Christian Ciato running in 7th at the moment. He's lost a spot since the start. Nacho Gaspar had a good launch. He's up into 6th after starting from 10th, as you see a move further back down the order. He's one of the bigger movers in the field in the early running. Merlin Mark Wolf has come up 4 spots as well from 21st to 17th, as we're going to take a look at our first Modem Simulation replay of the day.
We're going to see what's happened here. Looking at Pablo Espaz at the moment. Come out of turn 1, be heading up to the left-hander going up the hill. Oh, he's gotten a bit wide. Oh, no, that's big into the wall there. Just ran that a little bit too wide and grabbed the sand trap there, and it's just kicked him sideways. So once that happened, there was no way he was going to retain control of that car. So very unfortunate to see that happening, especially so early in the race. Still another 36 minutes to go in this one. So it's always the worst when you go out a bit early, because there's a lot of racing to be done. You just don't want to have it finish up too soon.
Yeah, because of how fast these cars are through the corners. When you do lose it and start to slide, it is very hard to catch. You saw that there. The car just drove into the wall almost. Didn't seem to slow down at all. Very short runoff. Another aspect of this track, there's not much runoff at all. In most areas of this facility, you can see there virtual grandstands stacked up on the left-hand side. Probably the biggest runoff of the track right there as they sweep through into a very fast final sector of this racetrack.
Very, very quick. This last section, this one's really, really good fun. If you can get this right, you've obviously got a fair bit of bitumen that you can use coming off the corner. You can see they're actually using every inch of it. Try and get the maximise the run to the front straight. See, there's not a whole lot of ground looking at Angel Salas at the moment. You can't see really to be gaining at all down the front straight. So it makes it so difficult because you don't have a long stretch and you can maximise that draft and potentially make moves, whereas now you've got to focus on trying to get off the corners, get as close as you possibly can. As we can see, you've got a really good runoff. He's all over the back of Dean at the moment. Flicking back through the pack. A few little battles going on at the moment. We can see the battle for second heating up as well. It's another, see, oh, there he was. Angel Salas having a look into that corner, the one I mentioned earlier. That's going to be a potential passing spot. But you've got to be right up close behind them, be able to make that move stick. Very easy to defend as well. So if you can get a move done there, you've done a very good job.
Up in second place is a reasonably close battle between Pablo Arajo with a 1:08.6 last time. He's lapping about the same as Cherubini. In fact, that lap, as they tick over, is a 10th quicker. But Cherubini's keeping them very honest. And in saying that, so too, Jose Alonso out front. He's only got a 2-second margin, which might seem like a comfortable gap. But if he does make a tiny mistake, drops a tyre off and loses a bit of grip and performance out there, he'll really struggle to maintain a comfortable margin, because when you do pick up some dirt and grass on your tires, it takes a little while for them to cycle off and fall away from the tire. Similarly, when you slide through a corner, you exert a bit more heat through the surface of the tire, which means it doesn't grip up quite as much as you'd like to. So when you do make a tiny mistake, it can cost you for a little while after the actual mistake itself. Can't it, Simon? Oh god.
Yes, no worries. When I remember my name. But yes, 100% correct. It does have a big effect on initially the pace of the tire straight after that. So trying to minimise those mistakes as much as possible also prevents, like, if you're overusing the tire too much, also prevents that from happening as well, because that can also be a factor. As you can see, there's a move happening here at the moment. Looks like it is Christian and Tom Riddle. Tom trying to go around the outside. He actually looks like he might actually get this done. He's got beautiful run out of 2 as they head up to 3. The left-hander up the hill. It looks like he is going to have that done. Beautiful move. He went. Tristan tried to defend. He had to go to the outside, but he managed to get enough of the car in front. Got a very good drive off the corner. So yes, very, very nice job done indeed. And we can see behind Dean and Angel also having a bit of a look here. It looks like Christian's going to be under a bit of pressure. He's already seemed to be losing a bit of pace at the moment. So I'm not sure if something's going on there at the moment. The pace is definitely dropping off a bit and seems to be catching the guys up behind, Morgan Thompson as well. And he seems to be jumping into this battle. So see, dropping off a bit more again. So this is not going to be good for Christian. He does not want to be losing this much pace. And you can see behind again, Dean got very sideways out of the last corner. He might be under threat as they head down into turn 1. That Mercedes just can't seem to get the run on the BMW.
No, he was very close coming into this section of the track last lap. However, Etienne saw that and he actually braked a fraction later than you normally would. Took a shallow line as well, just so Salas was discouraged from making that dive on the inside. Because even if you do run deep and a bit wide into this corner right here, you're able to defend very easily, because the next one is a right-hander that is very shallow and requires very minimal braking, so it's not an overtaking opportunity. as long as you cover the inside line. So a good defense from Etia, even though he doesn't seem to have quite the same pace as Salas does behind. And he mentioned Morgan Thompson starting to close in. Further back, a battle for 19th on the racetrack, around the outside, trying to fend him off. Fuente gonna lose the spot, gonna take the spot away as Nero's out there, got a bit of the grass, and unfortunately gonna lose out to McCaffrey as well, as Coretta tried to get up the inside, just jumped over the bumps on the inside of the corner a bit and had to get out of the throttle. Couldn't quite capitalize on the misfortunes of his fellow competitor. Really closed up here for second place. Arajo under a lot of pressure now from Cherubini, and Giuseppe Gallo's closed up as well. Last time by, Arajo ran a 1:08.5, a 1:08.3 for Cherubini, and a 1:08.2 for Gallo. So fastest to slowest from the back to the front of the straight.
Yeah, I'm actually, have to be honest, I'm quite surprised at the moment. I just noticed that actually the top 4 at the moment is all filled with Mercedes. Actually quite surprised at how much pace these cars have got going at the moment. The mid-pack seems to be all filled with the BMWs and Audis, but the Mercs seem to have really, really good pace at the moment. So if you look at Dean, he's still up behind Christian at the moment, can't seem to find a way past, although it does appear that Christian seems to have found a little bit more pace. He isn't dropping or holding the pack up as much. He seems to actually be building a little bit of a gap. Sort of have a look at as they come across the line this time. Christian was 2/10 faster that last time around, so it does appear his pace seems to be improving. But as they go down into turn 1, the gap just shrinks so much that BMW is just able to brake so much later than everyone else at the moment. Sprue's capitalising, but he just can't get off the corner. You can see he sort of drops off a bit more as they come out of 2, just can't quite able to get the power down as well as the Mercs.
Another suburban simulation replay. Oi! What happened there to Alberto Fuente? He has found himself clipped through the fence, and on his side, he lost the rear. That car took off to the right-hand side, hard into what is actually a wooden fence. So I'm surprised it held up pretty as well as it did. But there you go. He's had to tow back to pit lane. Sizable impact to the left side of that machine.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit confused as to how that happened. Like, he has grabbed the inside curb, but it's very strange that it's actually just kicked him sideways like that. I can't quite understand what's actually going on. Like, just may have got the thing a little bit sideways, but yeah, it seems like it's generally just a bit of a weird incident to sort of happen. But nonetheless, the end result unfortunately is the same. It's going to be done for him.
It can often be a very subtle slide through the corner. If you carry too much speed and turn in at too sharp of an angle, you can unsettle the rear end, and if you don't correct it quick enough, you do get those sort of almost odd-looking spins to the inside of the corner where it doesn't appear as if you're spinning, but inside the cockpit they are very much not able to stop the car from doing what it's currently doing. So that's why you can't just wrench it around the track, putting in maximum wheel input all the time, because that'll happen at every corner. But to agree, it was a slightly odd one as this is closed up a little bit here. That a number 11 car, which is Angel Salas, this is a battle again between himself and Atia. Still Atia managing to hold him off. He's dropped off at the back of Seato now. Doesn't have the pace. Salas does. Can't do anything with it. And Thompson behind, clipping the sand trap and having to very quickly correct that car.
He has been pushing incredibly hard. I noticed earlier in that lap, he actually got sideways coming over the rise into that little sand trap. Went a little bit too wide and just had a bit of a slide, and he's coming out of the final corner of the same thing, so pushing very, very hard at the moment, trying to keep up with his pack. Yes, also noticing as well, adjustment. Clarence seems to be over his times have dropped off a little bit. He's looking about 3/10 slower than the pack that's coming up behind him at the moment, so this could develop itself into another battle. As you can see, Dean and Angel still going at it. These two just cannot be separated. I think this is going to come down to pitch strategy and who will actually come out on top in this one.
While they battle for second place as well, Alonso's got his race lead out to 3.2 seconds now. So even though Rojo's not going side by side with Cherubini, he's not quite got the pace, and Cherubini, while he's not tucked right up behind him, does appear to be being held up because you don't drive as deep into the corner. You lift off or brake just a fraction earlier to avoid going into the back of them, and it does start to affect your lap times. As side by side, there's the dive from Salas at turn 1. He makes it happen, and Attia, try as hard as he may, couldn't keep a hold of that spot for the whole race. And he will have a look at the replay of how this unfolded. Down into turn 1, the slipstream and a late maneuver. Attia just didn't quite cover it off as needed. Very opportunistic, but he got the job done cleanly.
Yeah, that was definitely Lob City there. He sent that from a fairway back, but to his credit, got it stopped, got it turned. Didn't look like there was any contact, and yeah, Dean just had to sort of step aside and let him go at that point. So very good move, very dedicated to make that one work. So now Morgan is next in line. Has he got the pace? Take it to Dean. At the moment, we can see a car behind. Looks like it's Oscar making his way into the lane, so pit stops seem to be happening at the moment. Have a look at Morgan at the moment, having another look on Dean, but doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to really have a look. He'll stay behind for the moment. So getting close up behind into turn 1. Dean, very good braking in there. Managed to close the gap up a little bit. You can see there's a slow car as well. Victoria seems to be going quite slow. Seems to be just slowing and letting the field go through at the moment. So not sure what's happening there. But yes, this battle looks like Morgan's actually got that spot.
He has. Here's the replay. Wasn't at turn 1, but it was up at turn number 4. A wide line from Attia, and he swept on by. Huge turn of speed from that Mercedes to get on by the Beamer on that little straightaway in between the corners there. So Thompson gets himself up into 10th behind Salas, and Attia drops out of the top 10 in a space of just a couple laps. Close battle on track as well for 6. This is Nacho Gaspar. Tom Brutal closing right up to the back of that flaming exhaust pipe down into 1. A lot more confidence on that brake pedal in the Mercedes versus the McLaren. We'll see if he can make it work at turn 4. Gaspar runs a little bit wide, and that is exactly what Attia did that cost him the spot to Thompson. But Gaspar, you can see there, he drives it down the left-hand side of the track. He's slow in the mid-corner. The next one's a right-hander, very easy to defend. No way through for Brittle there.
He's definitely going to get himself stuck underneath that wing for a little bit by the looks of it. He's going to maximise his runs off the corner. Whether or not he's got the straight line pace to go against the McLaren. McLaren very well known for its straight line power. You can see the flames roaring at the back of that McLaren as they come onto the front straight. Tom trying to maximise every inch of the track. Can he get a run down to turn 1? Doesn't look like he's gaining anything at the moment. Having a little bit of a look, but I don't think he's going to be able to have a real look. He was never really going to be close enough as they get into... Oh, very close. Checked up in the mid-corner a little bit by Nacho. So very lucky to not make contact. You definitely don't want to have that happen to you right in the middle of the corner. But so this battle is going to progress a little more. You can see they come over the top of the hill, right-hander into the downhill technical section. See, this is where the McLaren really struggles. See, he just can't quite get it turned in compared to the cars behind, especially coming off the corners. Not doing too bad this time around, but that was where it struggled, was really struggling to sort of get the car turned in through the corner. He's actually done a really good job this time around. He's actually pulled a bit of the gap out. So still a bit of life in this McLaren at the moment, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
Attia is going to come under pressure for another spot now. Pablo Vicenzi closing right up towards his rear wing. In danger of falling back to 12th is Attia in this one. He started up in 9th. He was running as high as, what is it, maybe 8th at one point in this race. Now he's really struggling as the run goes on. We won't be far away from pit stops either in this race, and as usual, the tyre wear on GT machinery is pretty good and nice, consistent, and even. It lasts quite some time. You don't really want to make a pit stop until, well, normally about, what would you say, Simon? About an hour's worth of running? Just over?
If you're doing full fuel runs, like we would do, say, in an endurance series, then yeah, you're looking at about that hour mark to make your pit stop. But with these ones being 45-minute races, probably be leaving it as late, or sorry, 40-minute races, not 45. You'd be wanting to, in most circumstances, you would be wanting to leave it for as long as you possibly can. So I think from memory with these things, the tanks usually run out about 20 minutes, 15 minutes before the end. So that 20-minute to go seems to be where the pit stops really tend to come alive. Final 15, if you can get the tank to run out for that long. So yeah, there's a few options there for them to sort of go with. But yeah, it depends just what situation you're in at the time and what's best going to maximize that pit strategy for you. And as we can see at the moment, these little battles that are going on right now, although they're good to be in battles, sometimes they're not what's going to work for you. You could be being held up, so having that option to change up that pit strategy and coming in a little bit earlier, try and release yourself from that little battle that you're in, it's always an option.
If I'm Cherubini, Gallo, or even Hilliger's now back in 5th, I would come in around about now, because while the undercut in a traditional sense, you see a replay on screen from further back in the pack, it doesn't work because of the no tyres in the pit stop. It does work if you're being held up and then you make a pit stop and come out in clean air, and you can pump in some of your fast laps. It enables you to then go by in the pit stop phase, and when they pit, they come out behind you, or so it works in theory. So watch maybe one of the guys from 3rd to 5th to be one of the first to blink, as you can see the flashing headlights from behind as Riddle dived up the inside of Gasper. Gasper didn't fight that one, happy to stay on that brake pedal a fraction longer and tuck in behind.
Very good move there. Seemed to get that done relatively easy. I'm wondering if maybe Nacho saw that one coming and decided to give him a bit of room. But yeah, the pack up front at the moment, what are they going to do? Having a quick look at the times at the moment, I'm not 100% sure what the pit stop time for these cars are. Also, with the pit travel time plus the fuel needed, given that they probably will only need about the 15-20 second fuel mark. Fairly short pit. I estimate to say we're probably in the 30 to 40 second mark for your full stop. Looking at the lap times at the moment, if you were to pit now, you'd end up right behind a pack of cars from this front group. So not sure if it's the right one, but we can see Giuseppe Gallo seems to have spun. So looking at one at the moment, Dean Antia looks like he's losing another spot. Looks like Morgan's got that one. And then, yes, Giuseppe Gallo seems to have lost rear end of that car. Not sure what has happened there, but the rear just seems to have come around on him as well. So yeah, not that good. But yeah, it looks like the Pablo Vicente was able to release himself from Dean as well. So not going well for Dean. That car just does not seem to have the pace at the moment. It just seems to be steadily falling through the field at the moment.
Melon Mark Wolf running into issues as well. He's not had a fantastic run of things in this race so far. He's stopped at a 16th though, in saying that, from 21st. So despite that, he's still capitalised on others' misfortunes. So a lot of pressure has been relieved up front from the back of Arroyo. He's now got just Cherubini in behind him. Hilligers has made a mistake and dropped a little bit of time, not a huge amount, but just enough to relieve any worry from Cherubini. So he now has a little bit of freedom to maybe try and back up and get a run into the exits of one of these corners, which is what Salas is going to be trying to do. because after getting by Ataya, he is slowly clawed his way back up to the rear end of Christian Ciato, and in front of Ciato is Gasper and Brittle, not too far off in the distance as well. So an opportunity for any of these guys to find themselves in a top 5 spot. Pit entry is back before the last corner, so that's where you'll see people dive off to the right-hand side when they decide to come into pit. Still yet to see anyone make that tail dart to the right-hand side of the racetrack into that final corner, though.
Yeah, and as you're so saying, it's on that last corner, but as you can see, it's a very, very tight entry as well. Very easy to come in there too hot and cook it. Stephen McCaffrey seems to have had a bit of an issue. It looks like it's actually on the front straight by the looks of it. No, I've got my bearings completely wrong. Let's see what's happened here, and oh, there we go. That, as I was saying earlier,
Did he? Yeah, he did.
that
He kept it
grass,
off
yep.
the fence.
Did a very good job to manage to keep that off going actually into the forest area. Which that wouldn't be good, but yeah, just that tiny little bit of a clip of the grass, and it's enough to send you sideways. This pack just still battling on at the moment. Looks like the two of Tom and Nacho seem to have been able to pull a bit of a gap to this group at the moment. Angel and Christian have been battling quite hard. Just been watching them this last half a lap. It seems to be costing them a little bit of time. Not sure if this is what they sort of want to be doing at the moment. Christian going defensive as they head down to turn 1. Angel, can he replicate around the outside? Oh, he hasn't quite got the acceleration. Christian seems like he might hold this spot. Yes, Angel definitely got there. No, he's going to have another look. Left the door a little bit opened, but no, wasn't enough. Angel can't quite get the job done. Morgan Thomas sitting in behind. He's thinking to himself, this is going to be brilliant if these two come together. Having a look now as they head to the tight complex section. Not a lot you can do at this point. It's mostly single file from this point. But yes, Angel did a fantastic job to be able to get to the outside into 1. We said before that earlier pass, can't quite remember who it was, but they managed to get the power down. Angel could not seem to do it. He was right out wide, right in the bumpy section of the circuit. Just could not get that power down. So you can see Morgan making the dive for the pit lane, trying to go for the undercut on that group at the moment.
Francesco Cherubini all over the back now of your second place man in this one. Pablo Roger and Hilliges is starting to close back in on them as well, so needs to get this one done or make a dive into the pits. There was a slight bit of contact going back to that battle between Salas and Ciato. He just got into the left rear of him, heading up into turn 4. That's ultimately what prevented him from making the move, because he did check up when he did so and had to really be careful to avoid getting pounced on by Thompson behind. And again, they're both going to be careful now to avoid that happening with Thompson coming in and getting at least 1 lap in clean air here when he comes out of the pits. Unless he comes out in traffic, another danger of a short lap. Guys that are 30, 40 seconds off the leader might be right in the pit window for some of these people, as Cherubini darts into pit lane on the brakes down to the pit speed limit, which is 70 kilometers an hour. And he pits then from 3rd place, followed as well by Salas and Gallo. Back in 8th and 9th, Vicente will move up inside the top 7, yet to make his pit stop.
Oh, if you're going to try and make that undercut work, it has to be now. We're inside 12 minutes to left to run, so they've got a lot further than I actually predicted they were going to go. So, but they must be getting close. As you can see, Angel, he's dropped, he's leaving the lane at the moment. It doesn't look like Morgan Thomason is going to get there. They're coming onto the front straight at the moment, but looks like they might actually hold position. Morgan might go for around the outside, late break into turn 1. We've seen this done before, way too wide. Now he's going to come under pressure from Oscar. Seems to go side by side, heading up the hill towards 3. Morgan's got the inside run, so he made... Oh, there's a bit of contact. Oh, definitely got a bit sideways there. Oscar managed to hold on to it, but you can see there's a tiny bit of damage to the front right as the pits begin to fire.
Yeah, Thompson wasn't battling Pajadas technically for position. Pajadas hasn't made his pit stop yet, so would have been hoping to be given that spot a little bit easier. And that move into turn 1, Cherubini had to do a similar thing up the road. He had to really fire it back up the inside of Yanis, who hadn't pitted, and ran extremely wide. There was contact between them, but it was crucial into coming out and managing to get most of the lead lap. Look at this, up here with Helliger's, Arrojo and Salas. Cherubini will come out in second, and it will hug back to the move in turn 1 on his outlap to get in front of Yanis and get a whole lap of clean air. If he hadn't have done it, he'd have been balked up behind him and probably wouldn't find himself right now ahead of Arrojo. And in fact, even Helliger's back there in 5th. So that was very tight between those three coming out of the pits. That puts Cherubini up now into provisional 2nd place once everyone makes their pit stop.
Also notice that, well, Angel Sala has gotten across Christian through that pit stop. See, from what I could see, it looked like they got the job done on the front straight. You can see the cars up front at the moment. Nacho Gaspar still has not pitted by the looks. No, he is in the lane at the moment, so it looks like this field is going to cleanse itself out. Wait and see. This battle still going on for 2nd and 3rd, but we've also still got the battles happening right down the pack. Few people have changed positions, but they're still in the same group and it's still on. We can also see, just trying to find that car again, Pablo Vicente. Oh, looks like Salas is going to get another spot. Yet looks like, well, Vicente going straight off the road, so he's going to get another one out of that one.
Yeah, Vicente making a big mistake. The tyres cooled down a little bit in pit lane. You've got to be a little bit cautious down into the first corner. As a result, he overcooked it. Will lose out potentially 3 or 4 spots as a result. Salas, Ciato, Thompson, Pujadas all go on by, as does Gallo, who is currently tucked in behind. Pujadas hasn't made his stop yet. One of potentially the only driver yet to do so, in fact.
No, looks like they're all done.
He has.
Yeah. Yep, all stops are done by...
He's snuck up through the field then, hasn't he?
Hey.
He pitted 14 laps ago, so he's been running around in clean air at the back of the field for quite some time. That's why he seems to have snuck up, because he was being timed at the very back for quite a while.
I was going to say, yeah, he was the one I picked out quite early that went to the lane, which I kind of thought where the pit stops were going to start happening. So he actually went well at a sync to everyone else in this field. So yeah, he must have had some fantastic clean air running.
Ciato.
To get a bit right.
Look at Ciato. He almost had the overlap on Salas there. A little bit further back. There you go, Jay. A little bit further back in the field, watching it now. And Salas runs wide, makes a mistake, but he's got the preferred line for the next corner. Ciato going to fire it round the outside, trying to keep the overlap, but makes a mistake on the exit, has to tuck back in, get back on the racing line. Salas survives, but he's under a lot of pressure now. Ciato, Thompson, and Pujadas all lines up, waiting to make their move. Behind Gallo has managed to hold off the assault from Vicente, and they've separated on the racetrack. So we'll stay with these guys as Ciato closes again. Shows the nose. Salas moves over to cover. Ciato trying to outbrake him, but Salas stirred in that defense on the inside line. Ciato going to have to worry a little bit about Thompson behind, because he's really looking ominous as well.
Yeah, Morgan's just been sitting there watching this battle at the moment. That defense by Salas into one. Sort of decide the last second. We see Morgan, he's going to have a look on the inside. He's going to be not preferred. He'll pull out of that one. Choose to wait a little bit longer, not to make that move so early. You can see the pressure is building in this pack at the moment. So positions have changed, but it's still on for all of them. All of them still wanting that final, going to get that as high as they possibly can, I guess. But yes, it's still happening. Oscar is still lurking in the background. We can see this is actually starting to check the field up as well. You can see Gallo now sitting on the back of this train at the moment. Vicente will also be looking to have a go at this as well. And then we've got Everson Lorento as well. So this could develop itself quite to a bit of a battle pack. You can see into turn one, very late braking. Christian trying hard to keep this spot at the moment.
Oh, round at the front of the trainer cars, Salas goes for a trip into the gravel trap, and he drops half a dozen spots from that one mistake. We'll have to look at the modem simulation replay here because he lost it all by himself at the head of this group under so much pressure from behind, just pushing the car to the limit, and he found the line and just towed a little bit over it. Clipped the grass as he got on the brakes, turned it in, no grip, and around she goes, out into the sand trap.
It's going to be so disappointing. As we can see, there's a change for position as well. Margaret Thompson's got a spin, but we can see third and fourth as well. As we can see, Martin going up the inside as they come out of one, run up to three at the moment. They're still side by side. Pablo seems to have held position. He'll hold on to it, but he's going to run very wide. He's got sideways coming out of three. Martin's going to be having a look at this as well, but he'll back out of it for now. See Pablo running very, very deep into that corner. So that battle was hot.
Hopefully this is a replay of turn one. Further back it is. Hopefully we'll stay on the replay for turn four and even into what they're doing right now in live pictures, because it's still going on. So we'll stay with this replay for a little while here. Thompson runs wide, CR2 capitalizes, gets by him, checks up a bunch of people, Gallo Pajadas in behind, and then Thompson here runs a little bit wide. Contact on the outside of CR2 allows Pajadas up to his inside, which becomes the outside for the kink up here. This is when it gets a little bit scary. Contact between them. Pajadas goes out into the grass, into the fence, can't stop it. Straight back in front of who was that? Sorry, it was Thompson, wasn't it? And if we get an onboard with Thompson, you'll see a flash of yellow and not much else. This was so close to a much bigger incident. Too wide doesn't work through there. And look at this in J's and SimSpeed super duper slow mo that we have. When we do slow mo, it's real slow. There's that yellow and blue flash. Goes by, missed him by probably about the length of that bonnet.
Tell you what, if Bo thought he had a jump scare today, well, guess what? There's someone that's one-upped you. That just would never have seen that coming at all. Just until the last second till you turn in, and all of a sudden, yep, there's a yellow and blue car sitting in front of me, sliding across the track. So, tell you what, they were fighting for it. They wanted every position that they could get, and they were putting it all on the line to get there. That battle still hasn't changed. As you can see, the battle for the third place as they head into turn one. Again, these two are battling hard, and we can see he's run wide. Pablo has run very wide into one. That's going to be the position. P3 goes to Martin after some incredible pressure. Pablo just could not resist.
That's what pressure does for you, and some of the greats of sim racing and motorsports in real life are the ones that can withstand that sustained, prolonged pressure from drivers behind and front, from expectations as well, from your team to do well. And Arroyo and Salas both falling victim to it in this race, both making mistakes while under insurmountable pressure as Vicente gets turned around, and he's going to back it up. Or going to have to be careful how he gets it pointed the right way. That was Gallo that gave him a very innocuous touch through the corner, but it was just enough to unsettle the rear and send him around.
Let's have a quick look at the replay. Oh, checked it up mid-corner. Not sure what's going on there. There was a few dabs on the brake there, especially right at the apex of the corner, so I'm not sure what's going on, but not sure if we could totally blame that on Gallo, but it's definitely created a bit of a battle pack at the moment. So you can see Everson Lorento having a bit of a look. He'll go under brakes into one. He'll get the nose there on the inside of Gallo. Not running too far wide. Gallo uses all the track to his advantage, gets a beautiful run out of one. He'll hold on to that position, but that's also given Dean Ette a look as well. Doesn't look like much will happen there as they come over the little crest as they begin to head back down the hill at the moment. So battles are happening everywhere. This is going to go right down to the wire. So we should only have one more lap to go very shortly. As you can see, they'll be on 2 to go, so we have one more after this one. But yes, this battle is still going on.
Going to come down to the final lap when they cross the start-finish stripe. They'll get the 1 to go signal up in the flag stand. A 2.5 second lead for your race leader, but it's on back here for the minor placings. Trying to defend up the inside, trying to shake the draft as Gallo moves it back to the racing line. Lorenzo's not close enough. It's here at the back of these three as well. He has somehow found himself still running around in 11th, despite his apparent lack of pace for most of this one. He's done a good job to hang on after an early fall down the order. But right now, Jose Alonso has cruised away out front, started on pole, jumped out to a little early lead, and just kept slowly increasing it lap after lap, being incredibly consistent, flawless out front. Jose Alonso gets it done at Summit Point Raceway in the VRS GT Sprint Series here in the Sim Speed Friday Night Double Take. As we look back down the order at the battles coming across the stripe, it looks like they've all been resolved as they head towards the final corner. Tia will come across in 10th. Salas in 12th. What could have been for him, Vicente as well, will be slightly perturbed at his lack of a higher finishing spot after getting turned around by Gallo. It was a very good race we saw there, Simon.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. Obviously, such a short track, it's always going to deliver. But yes, and a bit of push and shove at the end of the finish. So, we'll get to the results.
Race winner, as we know, Jose Alonso by 1.9 seconds. He eats it off on that final lap, as you often do. Cherubini second, Hilliges third, Orojo and Gasper in the end, rounding out the top 5. Iberia cleaning up 3 of the top 5 spots in this one. Tim Brittle in 6th, Christian Ciato in 7th, Morgan Thompson, Giuseppe Gallo, and Dean Etier rounding out the top 10.
As we look at Everson Lorento coming in 11th. Angel Salas, what a fantastic race, but unfortunately a little mistake cost him in 12th. Pablo Vicente, another one what could have been, running early up 13th. Oscar Pajadas as well in 14th. 15th, Alejandro Llanes. 16th, Tom Elza. 17th, Sergio Carrada. 18th, Adra Niubo in 18th. Fran Costello in 19th. Merlin Mac Wolf 20th.
And then you'll see the rest of the results up there on your screen. So we will go away for 15 minutes here on Sim Speed. And when we come back, we'll be on a new broadcast on YouTube for the Class C trucks. We'll stay with this stream on Facebook. From the never-ending left turn of Chicagoland Speedway, we'll be back in a little while. Stay with us.